Yeah.
Shalom, shalom, peace and blessings. Now let's get straight to it. All right, so today's lesson is going to be on the parable in the beginning of Matthew chapter 22. What can be called the marriage parable. And I wanted to do this lesson because this is such a profound parable in itself that once you understand it, it will clear up a lot of the confusion that people have with different scriptures like John 3:16 and things of that nature, because it really spells it out to you. But also it shows the love that the Most High has for his chosen people and the manner that he goes about showing that love. But let's go ahead and get straight to it. Let's get Matthew chapter 22 and start at verse 1.
It's the book of Matthew, chapter 22 and verse 1. And Yahawashi answered and spake unto them again by parables and said.
All right, so we do know that Yahawashi or Christ, he spoke in parables. All right, let's look at this word parables really quickly. Here in the Greek, parabole. All right, let's see. Basically, a metaphor. All right, an example by which a doctrine or precept is illustrated. So what does this mean? An example by which a doctrine or precept is illustrated, meaning parables go by precepts or laws or lessons that's already contained within the scripture. So parables are not out of just thin air. They're always in reference to scriptures in before times. All right, so when we have Yahawashi here giving this parable, it's not for a new thing on earth. All right, it's something that's prophetic and also something that's already within the Bible that the Bible can explain itself with. All right, so you got to keep that in mind. So when we read these parables, we know that this is Christ referring to, either future prophecy, the current timeline, or things of that nature, things that you may find in the quote unquote Old Testament. Just keep that in mind. And it's also, of course, according to Matthew chapter 13, this is also in reference to, a certain group of people, not just everybody. All right, the mysteries of kingdom of heaven was not given unto everyone, not even not the elect, but the chosen people. All right, even a majority of those people won't get these words. All right, so let's keep going.
Verse 2, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a certain king, which made a marriage for his son.
All right. So now we're talking about the kingdom. You got to keep that in mind. It says the kingdom of heaven is like unto a certain king. All right. So everything we talking about now is, talking about the kingdom. It says unto a certain king, which made a marriage for his son. All right. So who is this king and who is his son? Now this son, this king is referring to the Most High in this context. We know in Revelation, I want to say the 19th chapter, we have Yahawashi called the King of Kings. And other scriptures as well, but this certain king is talking about the Most High here and made a marriage for his son. That is Yahawashi here, but let's get the proof. Let's get Deuteronomy. Just for a little context, let's get Deuteronomy chapter 33 and start at verse 1.
It's the book of Deuteronomy chapter 33 and verse 1. And this is the blessing wherewith Moses, the man of God, blessed the children of Israel before his death.
Hey man, Moses was a man of God, man. I don't know why people treat Moses like he was just out there, Mount Sinai and, in the wilderness, just giving the children of Israel his own words. Like it wasn't the Most High telling him what to say and what to do. All right. There's even people that call themselves, in the knowledge of the truth that act like Moses was just out there freestyling. Well, I want y'all to be out here doing this because I said so. All right. You're not supposed to put two men of the Lord at odds with each other. And anyways, in Revelation, I want to say the 15th chapter, it says that Moses and Yahawashi sang the same song. All right, but anyway, let's keep going.
Verse 2, and he said, the Lord came from Sinai and rose up from Seir unto them. He shined forth from Mount Paran, and he came with 10,000 of saints. From his right hand went a fury law for them.
For them, all right, in his right hand, this is referring to the Most High here. Keep going.
Verse 3, yea, he loved the people, and his saints are in thy hand, and they sat down at thy feet. Everyone shall receive of thy words.
Keep going.
Moses commanded us a law, even the inheritance of the congregation of Jacob.
All right, now verse 5.
And he was king in Jeshurun, when the heads of the people and the tribes of Israel were gathered together.
Okay, so it appears that this is referring to Moses because he was just mentioned here in verse 4. And he was king in Jeshurun. This is just Israel. All right, this is just another way of saying Zion or Israel. All right, and he was king in Jeshurun. This is not referring to subject. It's not Moses in this case. It's referring to the Most High. All right, so the Most High is king in Israel. All right, he's the ultimate king. We're going to talk about it in a second. Why it says a king which made a marriage for his son. We're going to talk about it in just a second, but we'll get more proof that that king is talking about the Most High. Let's get Isaiah 41 and verse 20.
Book of Isaiah, chapter 41 and verse 20. That they may see and know and consider and understand together that the hand of the Most High have done this, and the Holy One of Israel hath created it.
The Holy One of Israel, keep going.
Produce your cause, saith the Lord. Bring forth your strong reasons, saith the King of Jacob.
The King of Jacob. That's ultimately the Most High. All right. And now, for one last witness, let's get Psalms 95 and verse 3.
The book of Psalms, chapter 95 and verse 3. For the Lord is a great God and a great King above all gods.
Great King. That's the Most High, man. All right. Now, it says a certain king which made a marriage for his son because the Most High has given, all heirs in judgment unto his son. All right. And Yahawashi is worthy to receive this judgment and the heirs from the Most High as well. That's what the scriptures tell us. So that's why it says is likened to a certain king which made a marriage for his son, because ultimately we know in Isaiah, I want to say the 61st chapter, that the Most High is the husband of Israel, but that was also given unto his son. All right, let's get Hebrews chapter 1 and verse 1.
The book of Hebrews, chapter 1 and verse 1, and it reads, God, who at sundry times and in diverse manners spake in times past unto the fathers by the prophets.
And to the fathers by the prophets. We about to get more on that in a second. All right, but keep going.
Hath in these last days spoken unto us by his son.
Spoken unto us by his son. Keep going.
whom he hath appointed heir of all things.
See, he appointed heir of all things. Yahawashi has been appointed heir of all things. So it's something that's even small as this saying, which made a marriage for his son, that has a specific meaning that it's saying here. All right, so Yahawashi was given heir of all things. All right, keep going.
By whom also he made the worlds.
He made the worlds. All right, keep going.
Who being the brightness of his glory and the express image of his person, and upholding all things by the word of his power, when he had by himself purged our sins, sat down on the right hand of the majesty on high.
So Yahawashi is on the right hand of the Most High. All right, and he was given heir of all things. All right, and then let's get verse 4.
Verse 4, being made so much better than the angels, and he hath by inheritance obtained a more excellent name than they.
All right, so he has the most excellent name out of all the angels because Yahawashi is the firstborn creation. All right. And the other angels worshiped him. All right, it tells you that right here in verse 6. All right, so he has the most excellent name. That's why it says that this marriage was given unto his son. All right, because Yahawashi is heir of all things. All right, again, he is worthy to obtain this honor as well. All right, like we talked about with the last lesson, Yahawashi was proven as well. You know, when we see that Yahawashi is, you know, the only begotten son, meaning the special son, you know, he's worthy for that title. The Most High, of course, Most High can do whatever you want to do. All right, but even with that being said, he had a reason for appointing Yahawashi to this throne. All right, it was based on his works as well, how excellent he was. All right, and this is before he even set foot on planet Earth. This is way before. All right, when he made him as an angel, he already knew. All right, let's get Revelation 5 and 4.
The book of Revelations, chapter 5 and verse 4. And I wept much, because no man was found worthy to open and to read the book, neither to look therein.
All right, so no man outside Yahawashi is worthy to open and read the book. All right, but keep going.
Verse 5. And one of the elders said unto me, weep not. Behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of David, hath prevailed to open the book and to loose the 7 seals thereof.
All right, he's worthy. This is the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of David. This is referring to Yahawashi. It says the root of David because he sprang forth out of David's loins. All right, from a physical sense. All right, so this confirms that Christ cannot be born of a virgin because therefore he would not be from the root of David. And also he wouldn't be from the tribe of Judah as well. All right. And we're going to skip down for time's sake. Let's skip down to verse 9.
Verse 9. And they sung a new song, saying, thou art worthy to take the book and to open the seals thereof. For thou wast slain and hast redeemed us to God by the blood out of every kindred and tongue and people and nation.
Okay, out of every kindred and tongue and people and nation. All right, but as we see here, thou art worthy to take the book. That's referring to the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of David. It's referring to Yahawashi. That's why this great marriage, this wedding is being given unto the Son. All right, because he's worthy. No other man is worthy. All right, so this is the King, the Most High, making this marriage for his son. He set everything up. All right, this is the Most High. So let's get verse 3.
Book of Matthew, chapter 22, and verse 3. And sent forth his servants to call them that were bidden to the wedding, and they would not come.
This is deep right here, man. And sent forth his servants. Let's break down a few things within this verse, and then we'll come back full circle around. All right, so and sent forth his servants to call them that were bidden to the wedding. So who are the servants? We know that the certain king is the Most High, and the marriage is for his son Yahawashi. And who was his servants? All right. Let's get Amos chapter 3. We'll start at verse 6.
The book of Amos, chapter 3, and verse 6, and it reads, shall a trumpet be blown in the city, and the people not be afraid? Shall there be evil in a city, and the Lord have not done it?
The Most High control both the right hand and the left hand side. Satan does not have this great control and power where he has his own realm and he out there acting out, and the Most High just either can't stop him or he just down there, well, I could stop him, but I'm gonna just let him do this. He in control of it all. All right. Satan is an adversary for mankind that's set up by the Most High to build up your testimony. So when you stand before the angels, you've actually gone through trials and tribulations to prove that you're worthy to inherit the kingdom. All right. So you'll be tried as gold in the fire. All right. Acceptable man in the furnace of adversity. All right. Let's keep going.
Verse 7, surely the Lord God will do nothing, but he revealeth his secret unto his servants, the prophets.
And Most High will do nothing. He like the master delegator. He, delegates all tasks to his servants, the prophets. Now, we see here that the servants will be the prophets. The prophets are who we read in the Bible. The prophet Isaiah, the prophet Jeremiah, the prophet Jonah, Haggai, Malachi, so on and so forth, Ezekiel. These are the prophets. All right. So he sent forth his prophets or servants to call them that were bidding to the wedding. Now, the word bidding here, you kind of can tell from context, really, what bidden means. But bidden basically means to invite, to call, all right, to invite. That's a good word to describe it there. So the servants, the prophets, who were they talking to? When you read in the scriptures, when you read the book of Isaiah and Jeremiah and, all the different prophets, even King David, King Solomon, who were they talking to? They were talking to their own people, the children of Israel. So, and they were all Israelites as well, all the prophets. So, and sent forth his servants, the prophets, to call them that were bidden or invited to the wedding, and they would not come. Who is them? Again, let's get this first, and then we'll talk about it. Let's get John chapter 17 and verse 9.
Book of John, chapter 17 and verse 9. I pray for them. I pray not for the world, but for them which thou hast given me, for they are thine.
I pray for them. This is the same them that we read here in Matthew chapter 22 and verse 3. And sent forth his servants, the prophets, pursuant to Amos 3 and 7, to call them that were bidden to the wedding, and they would not come. So this them is referring to the children of Israel that Yahawashi was talking about right here, that he prayed for, not for the world. So this is not an open invite. Matter of fact, the Bible is not an open invite for everybody who has the ability to read. It's exclusive. You have to be invited. just like a wedding. When you think of a wedding, you always have a guest list, right? You have to be invited to a wedding. Most weddings, at least that I know of, you can't just walk up and just get in that thing because it has to be prepared beforehand. You got to know how many people coming in that thing so you can know how many chairs to have, so you can know how many refreshments to serve, so you know how many people that's going to be working a wedding. All right, you can't just let anybody come off the streets into a wedding because you don't know what they own. You might have children there. If you got children there, you don't want no pedophiles or thing crazy like that going on, not even that extreme. You just don't want people that you don't know in there that haven't been proven. All right, so everybody does not get invited to the wedding. That's just how that goes. All right, because again, even of our nation of people who this them is referring to, this is not for every one of them either. Still within that people, you have a select amount of people, which the Bible calls the elect, that the wedding is only for them. All right. So when you think of this symbology here, or this parable for a wedding, that's why it's used. All right. You have to think of a wedding, but not in a literal sense. You want to think of it too literal. All right, because of course there's differences between a marriage that we know of and the marriage that's being presented here, but it's the same type of love and intimate connection that the Most High has with his people. That's why this is being used. All right, and everything that I'm saying here, we about to get into in the scriptures, but because I just kind of went on a tangent there, but we get the point, man. We get the point. So everyone is not invited to a wedding. All right, but the interesting thing here is that it says they would not come. All right, so let's get more on that. Let's get Ezekiel chapter 3. We'll start at verse 3 and then go on down.
It's the book of Ezekiel, chapter 3 and verse 3, and it reads, "And he said unto me, Son of man, cause thy belly to eat, and fill thy bowels with this roll that I give thee. Then did I eat." It's like, then did I eat it, and it was in my mouth as honey for sweetness.
And that's that word. That word is honey in your mouth. It's sweet. It fills you up. All right, man, just hit the spot. You going through a rough day, or you losing faith, you losing hope. You take out that roll and you eat, and it's just there's honey in your mouth. But to get to the point though, let's keep going.
Verse 4, "And he said unto me, Son of man, go, get thee unto the house of Israel, and speak with my words unto them."
Okay, remember the parable is based off of precepts. All right, so we're seeing this parable explained in the book of Ezekiel. It's in, all of the prophets, but really, especially here in Ezekiel, in the book of Jeremiah. All right, but let's talk about how. Let's keep going.
Verse 5, "For thou art not sent to a people of a strange speech and of an hard language, but to the house of Israel."
This wedding is not for people of a strange speech and of a hard language, but it's to the house of Israel. All right. So this is all talking about the same people, but we had a point one in here. Let's keep going.
Verse 6, "Not too many people of a strange speech and of an hard language, whose words thou canst not understand. Surely had I sent thee to them, they would have hearkened unto thee."
Mm-hmm. All right. Keep going.
"But when the house of Israel would not hearken unto thee, for they will not hearken unto me, for all the house of Israel are impudent and hard-hearted."
All right. So this is those that are invited to the wedding that would not come. So prophet Ezekiel is going out here. He's trying to get his people to repent and come back to the Most High, because they're going off into idolatry, the spiritual fornication. All right. They're not keeping the word. They're breaking a covenant, which, remember, that's what a marriage is. A wedding is, well, a marriage. A wedding is a celebration of the marriage, but a marriage is a covenant. All right. The Most High only set a covenant with one people. That's not my opinion. That's just a fact. Unless you can show me the Most High's covenant, with the house of Elam. What scripture is that? All right. So the Most High had a covenant with the house of Israel, but a lot of them just would not listen. All right. They wouldn't hearken into the Most High. They're impudent, hard-headed. All right. Sodist children. All right. So that's the children that were bidden into the wedding, invited to the wedding, that would not listen. All right. We have many examples throughout scriptures. Like I said, in the book of Jeremiah, they sent Jeremiah to prison. When you tell people the truth, man, they don't like it. They try to kill those that tell the truth. And that's what happened with Yahawashi, because that's how bad the truth cuts people's spirits. Not to the point where they just get this person out of here. They want that person gone, so they won't be able to speak another word. And that's what our people did. And again, it was our people that, even though it was the Romans that ended up striking the final blow to Yahawashi, but you had our people that was sanctioning for it. All right. And we really didn't have the guts to do it. So that's why we try to put off on the Romans. But it was our people that did that to Yahawashi, which was, he's from the tribe of Judah. So he was an Israelite. So Israelites, beamed him up to be destroyed. That's what this is referring to. Those that would not come. So those that would not listen, they would not come to the wedding. The wedding is the covenant. All right, the marriage is the covenant, rather. All right. Y'all picking up what I'm putting down? Does make sense?
Good.
All right. So let's get verse 4.
The book of Matthew, chapter 22, and verse 4. Again, he sent forth of the servants, saying, tell them which are bidden, behold, I have prepared my dinner. My oxen and my fatlings are killed, and all things are ready. Come unto the marriage.
Coming to the marriage. So Most High is saying, I prepared my dinner, my oxen, my fatlings are killed. All things are ready. It's ready. Let's get Proverbs 9 and 5.
Book of Proverbs, chapter 9 and verse 5. Come, eat of my bread and drink of the wine which I have mingled.
Most High is saying the kingdom of heaven is already prepared for you. The bread, the finest wines. Come eat. Come on in. What does that mean? Turn back to the Most High. Destroy those wicked idols. Give up your Sunday worship, which has nothing to do with the Most High. All right. The Most High told us to keep the Sabbath holy. The Sabbath is not Sunday. All right. So you got to throw Christianity away. That's not in the Bible. All right. You can't come into the wedding if you're still taking on the doctrines of other men, essentially, parabolically speaking. So this is all prepared for us, for the children of Israel. He's saying, come eat. Come on to the wedding, man. It's prepared for you. Let's get Matthew chapter 25 and verse 34.
The book of Matthew, chapter 25 and verse 34. Then shall the king say unto them on his right hand, come, ye blessed of my father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world.
It's prepared already. Inherit the kingdom. The Most High is saying unto his people, It's prepared for you. It's been prepared for you from the foundation of the world. You just have to accept the invite. All right. You got to do what you got to do to make it to this wedding. All right. To come into this marriage. You got to do what you got to do first, but it's prepared for you if you're willing to accept that invitation to be bidden into the wedding. All right. So let's keep going.
Verse 35. For I was an hungered, and ye gave me meat. I was thirsty, and ye gave me drink. I was a stranger, and ye took me in.
Keep going.
Naked, and ye clothed me. I was sick, and ye visited me. I was in prison, and ye came unto me.
Okay, so again, the meat, the drink is all waiting for you at the wedding. All right, it's there for you, waiting. You just gotta, you gotta do what you gotta do to get up in that thing, man. You gotta do what you gotta do to get on the guest list. All right, if you're not, you're gonna be taken out of that thing, man. It's that simple. But again, this is not an open invite to everybody. All right, all nations of people, they don't fit the requirements to make this wedding, man. They just don't. If you were to put this Bible in front of, most nations of people, they're not even gonna fake the funk with you. They're gonna straight up tell you, nah, this is not for me. This is not for me, my friend. This wedding is not, no. What's the name of the Indian guys? I forgot the Krishna. The Krishna, he did not have, there's no wedding there, my friend. I love you, but no. They'll tell you straight up, this is not for them. And I'm messing with the Hindu religion right now, but whatever religion you want to throw out there, even Christianity. All right, when you start reading the Bible, you start understanding again how exclusive it is. All things that are exclusive, it's better. The less people in a group, the more special a group. And that's what the Bible is. The Bible is a special book written by special people, only for special people. All right, it's an exclusive club. All right, all clubs, and when I say club, not just like a nightclub, but any type of club in general, the more exclusive, the more prestigious that club is. Magna cum laude or whatever. Since I didn't make any of those, I don't even know the summa cum laude, whatever it is, when you had a 3.5, 3.9, 4.0 GPA, whatever the case is, valedictorian, all of that's an exclusive club. You have to meet the requirements to be considered in that. All right, it's just not an open invite. Everybody can't be the valedictorian. All right, so that's just the best way I can put that, man. Let's get Matthew chapter 3 and verse 2.
It's the book of Matthew, chapter 3 and verse 2. And it reads, and saying, repent ye, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand.
That's what the Most High is saying. Repent or perish. All right, repent or perish, and the kingdom of heaven is at hand. It's prepared for you. The best type of wedding. Because once you make it in, you good. You ain't got to worry about working. The work already been done to get to that point. All right, everything already served, waiting for you. All right. You got somebody already ready to feed you. Somebody already ready to take care of you. But it's work involved. It's work involved. You can't just get into this wedding, just because you are an Israelite in itself. All right. That time is over. At the time of King David, King Solomon, if you were an Israelite at that time, you were already good. All right. But in this time frame we're in now, all right, you have to be a part of the elect. That means that's a group inside of a group. All right, it's a group inside of a group. So let's get verse 4 one more time to keep the point.
The book of Matthew, chapter 22, and verse 4. Again, he sent forth other servants, saying, tell them which are bidden, behold, I have prepared my dinner. My oxen and my fatlings are killed, and all things are ready. Come unto the marriage.
Come into the marriage. The kingdom of heaven is at hand. Just come. Prepare yourself. All right, keep the statute, laws, and commandments of the Most High. Keep your faith in Yahawashi's Son. Eat the roll. Read, study as much as you can. All right, so you can come into the marriage. All right, let's get verse 5.
Verse 5. But they made it, Salakia, but they made light of it and went their ways, one to his farm, another to his merchandise.
So they don't understand how profound it is to be invited to this wedding. So they made light of it. They went their ways. You know, this is those that are invited. They're like, man, the kingdom of heaven, I mean, that sound all right, but I'm out here kicking it. So I'm gonna just go my way. I'm gonna go to my farm.
Salaki.
Con.
Bring this little precept out real quick.
Let's get it.
Second Ezra chapter 15, verse 1.
It's the book of Second Ezra, chapter 15, and verse 1. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord.
So this is what the servants and the prophets were going out to do, to bid them to the wedding. Speak the words of prophecy, which the Most High put the words of prophecy in the mouth of the prophets, to speak the words of the Lord. Keep going.
Hold on a second. There we go.
Verse 2. And cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true.
So the ones that are bidding to the wedding, that make it to the wedding, gonna be the ones that are faithful and true. Read verse 4 for me.
Verse 4. For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness.
These are the ones that went their own way. They decided to do their own thing. You know, this kind of off topic, but brothers and sisters, y'all should watch The Matrix. You know what I'm saying? I watched it today, and I got to break it down to somebody. A lot of people want to take the blue pill. You know, they want to go their own way. They don't really want to open their eyes to the things that's going on out here. And another reason is because the Lord ain't put his spirit on them, but they're going to die in their unfaithfulness. You know, because they decided to go along with the ways of the world. And like the brother just brought out in Matthew 22, they wanted to go their own way. They wanted to do their own thing. But that's all I had.
All right.
Absolutely. This is exactly who this is referring to in verse 4 here, or verse 5 rather. They went their own ways, unfaithful. So when you're trying to bid someone to the marriage and they make light of it, just remember this verse. You know, this is prophesied to happen. There's nothing you can do about it. It doesn't matter how well you break down a chapter. It doesn't matter how well you know the Bible. It doesn't matter what parabolic language you use or how well you're able to simplify it. If it's not meant for someone to get it, they just won't get it. And there's nothing that you can do. You have to focus more on being grateful that the Lord put the spirit on you than focusing on why he didn't put the spirit on someone else.
That's right.
All right. Because you're really showing that you're not grateful if you harping too much on it. All right. And this refers to anybody, parents, siblings, kids even. We have to keep that spirit because we already know it's been prophesied. All right. Like Yahawashi said, my family is those that keep the will of the Lord.
That's right.
That's who my family is.
Con.
So we got to keep that in mind. All right. That doesn't mean we can't connect with our siblings and friends and families that, family members that this verse is talking about, but you have to keep that in mind. You can't keep yourself up at night. Man, they just don't get it, man. I brought this precept out and I said it this way and I did all this for them and they still no, there's nothing you can do. Many are called, but few are chosen. That's in this chapter. But let's keep going to verse 6.
Book of Matthew, chapter 22, and verse 6. And the remnant took his servants and entreated them spitefully and slew them.
I told you when someone don't want to hear the truth, they basically just want you to go away and for good. That's how the spirit is a two-edged sword that it just slices through, man. It just cuts you. It cuts you up and people can't stand it. That's why people get mad at you, man. They want to stop dealing with you when you tell them the truth. All right. But in this case, this is actually what happened. This is what happened to the prophets, literally, though. All right. Because you have, from a sense like in last lesson where people, want to kill you on a parabolic standpoint, but literally that's what happened to the prophets of the Lord. Let's get Matthew 23 and 31.
The book of Matthew, chapter 23 and verse 31.
Salak, let's get a little bit more context. Let's get 29 and then work our way down.
Verse 29. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because ye build the tombs of the prophets and garnish the sculptures of the righteous.
Right. So let's just keep going. Let's keep going.
And say, if we had been in the days of our fathers, we would not have been partakers with them in the blood of the prophets.
Keep going.
Wherefore ye be witnesses unto yourselves that ye are the children of them which killed the prophets.
So you see that, our people killed the prophets. You read about the prophet Jeremiah. He was slain. Many prophets, they were slain. You don't read about it directly in the scriptures because, they wrote the book. But when you get the accounts, you see most of all of the prophets were slain, or they had a tumultuous life because of reproving the people. Hey, you can't worship this no more. Put that down. You said, what? Oh man, we gotta do something about this, man. He keep bringing this out. I always laugh at the example. This is nothing, nowhere near closer to a prophet or anything like that, but I'm just doing a small example just in my life. I just remember trying to bring the scriptures out to a brother, and brother dang there wanted to throw my phone out the restaurant, man. I mean, he cut the sucker off and flipped it over. I was showing them the scriptures in a Bible app on the phone. I was like, brother, you seen? Boom, flipped it. Didn't want to see it no more, man. So imagine if, you got a prophet that, he's speaking the words of the Lord. All right, they they want nothing to do with it. They was out there slaying their own people. They knew where their own bone and flesh. They were killing them. All right.
Lot.
Con.
And just add on to that. Let me get Luke 4 verse 24.
Right here. Yeah, no, okay. All right.
The book of Luke, chapter 4 and verse 24, and it reads, and he said, verily I say unto you, no prophet is accepted in his own country.
Hey, it's plain. We had killed our own messengers that was sent to us.
Not accepted in his own country. That's a shame, because a prophet is a great and magnificent title to earn from the Most High. And that's why here I didn't say that the servants were people like us that bring out the word to others. I didn't call myself a prophet or didn't liken someone else into a prophet, because the prophets are those that's a designation for those that receive oracles directly from the Most High through an angel. All right, so the Most High not dealing with me directly in a standpoint of, all right, Colin, here's this word, you speak this directly to the people. So I'm only reading what's already been written. But you know, later on down, it talks more about just people in general, that we try to bring the word out to people. But that's a prophet. You know, that's a great title of great esteem. All right, and to be killed in your own country and not accepted, you know, that's just beyond wicked, man. You trying to help them. You notice how the more you try to help a lot of people, really the worse they get. And they treat a lot of people that do them dirty, they treat them way worse than they treat you, and you the one that had nothing but good for them. That's just how it is. The prophets were done that way. Yahawashi was done that way, so how much more than you? All right, and that's just the way you got to think about it. All right, so let's get verse 7.
It's the book of Matthew, chapter 22, and verse 7. But when the king heard thereof, he was wroth, and he sent forth his armies and destroyed those murderers and burned up their city.
And that was a great precept, by the way. I meant to say that. But for verse 7, when the king heard thereof, he was wroth. So the Most High was wroth with his people. You know, that's why a lot of Christians, they say things like, you know, Israel was God's chosen people. It used to be, but you know, he was wroth, because you see how the Most High reacted. You know, when he saw his people slaying his prophets and being wicked, he sent forth his armies and destroyed those murders and burnt up their city. Literally speaking. All right, let's get Luke chapter 21 and verse 20.
The book of Luke, chapter 21, and verse 20, and it reads, and when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh.
When Jerusalem is compassed with armies. All right, so when you see other nations rise up against us, like in this current captivity that we're under from the so-called white man, it's because the Most High, you know, rose them up, because he was wroth with us. That's the only way any other nation of people outside of children of Israel gain any type of rulership, is because the Most High, the great king, is wroth with his own people. All right, so he will send other nations of people against us to trample us, just so we'll learn our lesson. All right, and destroy those murderers and burnt up their city. That's what happened to Jerusalem, literally. All right, it was burnt up and the people were destroyed. All right, let's get Jeremiah chapter 52 and verse 13.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 52 and verse 13. And burned the house of the Lord and the king's house and all the houses of Jerusalem and all the houses of the great men burned he with fire.
All right, so it was burnt with fire, man. You know, Jerusalem was burnt all the way down. That city is destroyed right now. All right, it's burnt down. Even though you have a Jerusalem today in Israel, that is not that is not really Jerusalem. That is not really Israel. All right, it's just there by a title, but that's not really the holy city. it's been burnt down, all right, and destroyed because we slew our prophets. You know, they stoned Paul. All right, you had plenty of the apostles as well. They were killed. Most of all the apostles were killed. When I say killed, murdered by their own people. All right. So that's what this is referring to. The wicked of our people literally destroying the servants. That's trying to tell them to come to a joyous event, the kingdom of heaven. All right. So that's crazy, being killed for trying to help you obtain something that lasts forever, the kingdom of heaven that was given unto you as a free gift. All right. Let's get verse 8.
Book of Matthew, chapter 22, and verse 8. Then said he to his servants, the wedding is ready, but they which were bidden were not worthy.
They were not worthy. The wedding is ready. It's been ready from the foundation of the world. All right. But those that were invited, they were not worthy because they were killing the prophets. All right. Let's get verse 9.
Verse 9. Go ye therefore into the highways, and as many as ye shall find, bid to the marriage.
Okay. So that's what we're doing right now. That's what we're doing right now. We're trying to bid those that are invited to the marriage. We're trying to get them to come back to the Most High, so you will understand that kingdom of heaven is for you. And it's a special gift among all gifts that you ever can receive, is eternal life. What's more sweet than that? Nothing. Where you have no more tears, no more pain, like described in Revelation 21st chapter. All right, we're trying to bid you to the marriage. We're trying to tell you to pay attention to the Most High. See what he wants. See what you need to do to accept this invitation to be bid to the marriage. All right. So we see the word highways here. And remember, this is parabolic form because, you know, at this time, you didn't have the internet around. So just with the internet itself, you know, the word is being spread everywhere. As many as you shall find, you bidding them to the marriage when you letting them know. All right. And like the prophet Ezekiel, Most High told him, you know, whether they hear or forbear, whether they accept it or they don't accept it. You know, you try to let everybody know. Even if you don't do it directly, you be a light unto them. When they see you not celebrating Christmas, you know, hopefully that gets them to, you know, ponder in their mind, if they used to go in on Christmas, they used to always, you know, they used to have the brother used to have the biggest tree. They used to have the most decorations in their yard. I wonder if they not celebrating, that must mean something. They say it's according to the Bible. That's you bidding them to the marriage without you even realizing, you know, not directly. You know, it comes time where you tell those directly, and there's times where you just let your light shine, you know, to let them come back to the marriage themselves. Because that's the only way it's going to happen if the Most High want them to come back. No, it don't matter what you do anyway. All right. I found that the best approach, just from a surface level, because it's all the Most High, you know, we plant the seed and the Most High doesn't sow the increase, but the indirect approach is the best because people don't like to be told things when they're not ready for it. They kind of like to stumble on things themselves and then kind of inquire and ask questions, you know, later on. You know, you just throw them this video, don't say much about it, just kind of throw it to them. Hey, check out this video real quick if you got a chance. Not send a video, Nick, you wicked. You need to come back or you're going to be killed. Then, you know, they kind of reluctant when they see that. But that's what we're doing right now. We've been those that were invited back to the marriage. And next lesson, we're gonna actually talk more about, because there's so much on this chapter. We haven't even really talked about, what the word marriage and wedding, what that really means and why it was related here from a certain standpoint. We haven't even talked about that. We're going to do that next lesson, but let's get verse 10.
Verse 10. So those servants went out into the highways and gathered together all as many as they found, both bad and good. And the wedding was furnished with guests.
All right, so you're going out, you gathering everybody together, as many as you can find, many people as you know that you can tell, either directly or indirectly. Hey, brother, why you don't do this no more? Hey, man, according to what I researched in the Bible, man, we're not supposed to do that. Oh, really, man? You said something about Israelite. What is an Israelite? That's in the Bible, man. It's been there the whole time. That's you gathering as many people as you can find, both good and bad. All right. Let's get verse 11. Let's read this out into 14, because I think we're coming close on time. Let's read this out to 14, and we'll get the final precepts that I had up here. And then next week we're gonna finish it up.
Verse 11. And when the king came in to see the guests, he saw there a man which had not on a wedding garment.
Mm-hmm.
And he said unto him, Friend, how comest thou in hither not having a wedding garment? And he was speechless.
Mm-hmm.
Then said the king to the servants, Bind him hand and foot, and take him away, and cast him into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. For many are called, but few are chosen.
Many are called, but few are chosen. The religion known as Christianity, what we saw like 2.1, 2.3 billion followers. That's not a few, man. That's a lot. And of all nations of people, it just doesn't work like that. And not just because of who they are, by their own actions as well. All right, this wedding is not referring to all nations of people. Just because you profess yourself to be a Christian, you go to church 1 or 2 Sundays out the year on quote unquote Easter, and just one random time somebody drag you up in there, you half asleep the whole time anyway. You ain't picked up the Bible. You ain't really got an up-to-date Bible and nothing like that you even read. This is not talking to you. All right, this is not talking to you, because all of the guests on this guest list are all intentional guests. All right, it's all intentional. It's not, you're not just going to randomly stumble upon a wedding. You don't just walk down the street and you already got your proper garment on for a wedding. You like, oh, it's a wedding over there. Let me just fall through real quick. I don't even know these folks, but I'm gonna just fall through. You're gonna get stopped at the door. First of all, your garments are wrong. You're not dressed for the occasion. You haven't properly prepared. You don't know the people. The people don't know you. You're gonna get stopped at the door. All right. But what does that garment mean? Let's get Isaiah 30:1.
It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 30, in verse 1. Woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord, take counsel, but not of me, and that are covered with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin.
So if you cover but not with the spirit, you add sin to sin. All right, let's get Isaiah 61:10.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 61, in verse 10. I will greatly rejoice in the Lord. My soul shall be joyful in my God, for he hath clothed me with the garments of salvation.
The garments of salvation. That's what this is referring to. All right, a man which had on no wedding garment. He didn't have on his garment of salvation. Remember, you're not going to just stumble on this great wedding, man. It's not going to go down like that. Keep going.
He has covered me with the robe of righteousness. As a bridegroom decketh himself with ornaments, and as a bride adorneth herself with her jewels.
Yeah, you're not gonna get in this wedding if you ain't got on your robe of righteousness, your covering, which is the spirit, all right, which is the most high is your covering. Let's get Job 29:14.
It's the book of Job, chapter 29, in verse 14. I put on righteousness, and it clothed me. My judgment was a robe and a diadem.
Right. Put on righteousness. You have to put on righteousness to get in here. All right. Any wedding, you know, if you come in correct, you have to prepare beforehand. All right. You already marked it in your calendar. You making sure you ain't got nowhere to go on that date, nothing to do. Everybody else around you know that you going so they can properly prepare around your schedule as well. That's how this goes. Or you get stopped at the door. All right. And that represents you not making it to the kingdom of heaven, like in Matthew chapter 7. All right. So let's get 1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 9.
The book of 1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 9. But ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, and holy nation, a peculiar people, that ye should show forth the praises of him who hath called you out of darkness unto his marvelous light.
All right. This is for the chosen generation. Remember, many are called, but few were chosen. This is the few that's chosen, this chosen generation, a royal priesthood, and holy nation, a peculiar people. This cannot be referring to everyone. This is only given unto those that are bidden to the marriage, a peculiar people, a special people, a people that set aside, you know, that was told they weren't the people of God. That's who this is for. Those that weren't a people. All right, to show forth the praises of him that calls you out the darkness. So you won't be in this outer darkness where there'll be weeping and gnashing of teeth. All right. And we pretty much at time. So I'm gonna just leave the rest of the precepts for next time. Because next time we're gonna go into Hosea chapter 2, which has a lot of the same similar concepts, but we're gonna talk more about the why the word, you know, marriage and wedding was used in reference to our people and the Most High. So with that, I yield.
I got one precept, all right?
Bring it out.
The book of Romans chapter 10, verse 2 and 3.
This is the book of Romans chapter 10 and verse 2. For I bear them record that they have a zeal of God, but not according to knowledge.
Yep, our people got a zeal for the Most High, but it's not according to knowledge. Read on.
For they being ignorant of God's righteousness and going about to establish their own righteousness, have not submitted themselves into the righteousness of the Most High.
Yep, it's just like what you were just going into. They got on the wrong garments.
Khan, got on the wrong garments. You don't have on the garment of righteousness. You got on the garment of Christianity. You're not getting in that wedding with that.
That's right.
Hey, you're not getting in there with that. And remember, when you hear me speak about Christianity, don't take offense, because Christianity is single-handedly the greatest deception on planet Earth. You know the saying, if it walks like a duck and quack like a duck, it must be a duck. But that's not the case for Christianity. It looks like righteousness. It appears to be righteousness. Everyone that's in it, you know, they appear to be doing the right thing, but they're not. It's not according to knowledge. Because if you go and sit up in a church house, quote unquote church, because the church is a gathering of people, it's not a building. But if you go to a church house On Sunday, you're not worshiping the Most High according to knowledge. You're worshiping the Most High according to the doctrines of men. Men created that.
Bringing that out.
Men created that. That's not the will of the Most High for you to go worship him on Sunday. It's a lot deeper than what you think. Breaking the Sabbath is a lot deeper than what you think. Just eating pork is a lot deeper than what you think. In the book of Isaiah, the 55th chapter, the Most High told us that my thoughts are not your thoughts. My ways are not your ways. So just because it may seem like it's a small thing to you, well, I'm just going to go on Sunday. It's only one day. No, that's big to the Most High. You can't look at it with your own thoughts, your own vain opinion. Don't lean on your own understanding. Proverbs 3 and 5. Don't lean on your own understanding. All right.
So Salah.
Con.
I want to add on one more thing before we close out.
Con.
Second Esdras, chapter 2, verses 10 through 13.
Okay. It's the book of Second Esdras, chapter 2 and verse 10. Thus saith the Lord unto Esdras, tell my people that I will give them the kingdom of Jerusalem, which I would have given unto Israel.
Read on.
Their glory also will I take unto thee, and give these the everlasting tabernacles, which I have prepared for them.
Go on.
They shall have the tree of life for an anointment of sweet savor. And it's like it. They shall neither labor nor be weary.
Read.
Go and ye shall receive. Pray for a few days unto you, that they may be shortened. The kingdom is already prepared for you. Watch.
It is already prepared for us. Just watch and pray and do what you were supposed to do.
Come back to the marriage. Come back to the wedding. Don't think that this invite is for everybody, because it's not. It's exclusive. So act exclusive. If you want to be a part of this club, you want to be a part of this great wedding, and eat of the finest fruits, the best bread, the best wine. And great precept, by the way, because this is exactly what we were going into. So this was great. But unless brothers got anything else with that on my end, I yield.